Good morning everyone, I'm here with my big book of the blue and I absolutely love this book because it's all about oceans and things that live in the ocean. And on the back, on the blurb, there are some questions and I'm not going to give the answers away today, but I might pop back at the end of the week if you haven't already to try and answer some of these. And the first question is, why does a crab run sideways? Is a jellyfish made of jelly? And why don't penguins freeze? The reason I got my big book of the blue out is because a couple of weeks ago it was World Oceans Day. It was actually on the 8th of June. So we have just missed the day, but I don't think that matters because I don't think that we just need to care about our oceans on the 8th of June. I think we need to care about them all day, every day. And I'm going to show you some videos and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what World Oceans Day is, why we have World Oceans Day, and what important job we can do. And I know that the learning for this week looks at oceans, and there's some lovely ocean artwork going on as well. So let me share with you this first video all about World Oceans Day.
June, and it's an opportunity for all of us to celebrate and honour our ocean. Our ocean and waterways are really important because they provide vital stuff for us, like air, food and water. But our oceans are not just important to us, they are also important for all of the creatures that live in it. The world's ocean covers more than 70% of our planet. And because so much of the Earth's surface is underwater, marine species vastly outnumber those on land. It's an incredible 94% of the Earth's living species that exist within the oceans. The ocean is also important for humans like us. The ocean provides the majority of oxygen we breathe, food we eat. It cleans the water we drink, and most importantly, helps regulate our climate. Unfortunately, over the last 100 years, a huge amount of rubbish has ended up in our oceans, with plastic being one of the most common ocean pollutants. The majority of this plastic doesn't get dumped into our oceans right away, but instead is discarded on land, where it easily makes its way into drains and gutters and rivers, which all then run into the ocean. Around 80% of plastic pollution enters the ocean from the land. Every year, 6.4 million tons of plastic is dumped into our oceans. This is the same weight as 20,000 jumbo jets. This has massive effects on animals, which rely on our oceans. Around 1 million seabirds and 100,000 marine mammals are killed each year due to plastic ingestion. Plastic pollution in our oceans are like an iceberg. For every piece you see on the top, there is much, much more hiding below. It is estimated that every square mile of ocean has more than 45,000 pieces of plastic floating in it. Did you know that scientists predict that by the year 2050, the weight of plastic waste will be greater than the total weight of fish in our oceans? This is because plastic doesn't break down in the way most other materials do. A plastic cup takes up to 80 years to decompose. A plastic cup is made up of non-renewable materials as its basic components. This material does not degrade, which is why plastic cups continue to exist up to now. But it's not all doom and gloom. We can still fix this problem. Most or all of the recycled plastic can be used to make things such as park benches, trash cans, decks, playground equipment, and kayaks, among other things. Recycled plastic bottles can also be used to make special fleece-like fabrics, which are used in blankets and clothes, but only if we learn how to recycle properly. So here's a few tips. Plastic bags in curbside recycling bins is the biggest recycling mistake made by Australians. So make sure your recycling is loose in the recycling bins. You should also empty and rinse out any food from takeaway containers before putting them into the recycling bin. A lot of us may not know that both aluminium and glass can be recycled almost infinitely. So scrunch your clean alufloil into a ball and place this in with your recycling. Make sure that you do recycle what you can by not putting recyclables into the general waste bins. Up to 67% of the contents of an average household's rubbish bin could have been kept out of the landfill and used for more imaginative purposes. Did you know that the energy saved by recycling one plastic drink bottle can power a computer for 25 minutes? Other things considered to be non-renewable can actually have many components recycled, such as batteries and printer cartridges. But recycling is not the only thing we need to do to fix our world's oceans. It's very important that we also pick up any rubbish we see and participate in community cleanups. Remember that around 80% of plastic pollution enters the ocean from the land via our rivers and waterways. And World Ocean Day is the perfect day to start. If you would like to participate in World Ocean Day, then visit www.worldoceanday.org.
Okay. So, just going to stop that there. So that video was talking to us about an important job that we can play in looking after our oceans and in turn looking after our planet and ourselves. And it was talking about picking up rubbish and recycling. And we're quite good at that at school. And I know Mrs. Bourne has her Eco Warriors and we have 2 bins at school. Try, if you're still at school or if you're at home, have a go at putting things in those recycling bins. So just before you go and put it in the general waste bin, have a think. Lots of packaging has a label on the back, so it tells you if it can be recycled or if it can't. Now I'm going to share with you a little PowerPoint about World Oceans Day this year, and it was around the theme of plastics. And there's a little job at the end that you can do maybe at school if you've got a bit of time this week, or certainly at home and moving forward. So let me share that with you. Oh, computer's being a pain today. There we go. So the theme for World Oceans Day this year, was innovation for a sustainable ocean. So World Oceans Day is held on the 8th of June every year, and this year's theme is innovation for a sustainable ocean. Some big words there, and there's a little explanation on the side. So innovation means to come up with new ideas, and sustainable means to keep something going. So our job and what we're thinking about with World Oceans Day this year is coming up with new ideas to keep something going. So did you know 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and the world has 5 major oceans? And they're one of the things that we need to know when we're in year 1. The Atlantic Ocean, the Southern Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. This year's theme focuses on ideas and innovations that will help protect the ocean. It will highlight technology and scientific research that will help to protect the ocean and all of the living things in it for the future. And there's a plastic cup left on the beach. It should be picked up and popped in a bin. So plastic pollution, and as we can see from that picture, it is a bit of a problem. In 2015, scientists estimated that between 4.8 and 12.7 million tonnes of plastic entered the world's oceans. And plastic causes problems for many creatures in our oceans. Plastic lasts for hundreds of years, so the danger can stay around for that long too. So not like our compost bin, when we put our fruit in after we've had fruit and milk, that composts down and goes back into the soil. Plastic doesn't, it stays as it is. So if you throw it out of the window, when you're in the car, it will stay there. Scientists and environmentalists are looking at ways that we can reuse plastic so that we stop wasting it. For example, plastic is now being used in some countries to make new roads. So it's okay to use a plastic bottle if that's what we have to do. But now they're looking at ways that they could reuse it. What could we do after we've used that plastic bottle? I know some schools have used their plastic milk bottles to make greenhouses. And you can plant things in them. There's lots of lovely ideas of how you can reuse things. They are also finding out about the ways that we can clear plastic from our oceans. This needs a lot of research and innovation because there's so much plastic in the ocean. So that's quite an important point. Although I think we are making lots of great changes and we are recycling quite a bit and we're reusing things and coming up with new ways to store our items instead of just using plastic. There's still an awful lot of plastic in that ocean that actually we do need to get back out. So the oceans of our world soak up some of the Earth's heat and help spread the heat more equally around the globe. So as global temperatures rise as a result of global warming, so do the temperatures of our oceans. So things are getting hotter. We might think, oh, that's lovely. I love a nice hot summer. It's not that kind of hot. These temperature rises have a negative impact on sea creatures across the world. So we can see there an example is the polar ice caps melting. Where are the polar bears going to live if there's no ice? So innovations, ideas that people have come up with. They are trying to find new ways to stop global warming. This will help slow down and hopefully stop the melting of ice caps. For example, if there are more electric cars on the road, there will be less gas released into the air by cars that use petrol. Climate change campaigners want governments to do more to reduce the amount of pollution that their countries produce. And I know there are lots and lots of electric cars now, which is great. So what can we do? And this is what I want you to think about this week. How can you reduce the use of plastic or recycle what you use? So think, how could I maybe buy something that's not in plastic? I know now lots of things that grown-ups would use, but cleaning products, they ask you to keep the plastic bottle and you can buy the reusable pouch and you pour the cleaning liquid then into the same plastic bottle. But maybe you could think, how could you use a little bit less plastic? Maybe your drinks bottles, if you've got a bottle full of water and you've had to buy it from the shop or something, if you're out and about, maybe you could rinse it out and put your drink in it for school or your trip if you're at home having a walk. Maybe you could reuse that and put that in there. Maybe you could put things in a recycling bin. Okay, by putting things in a recycling bin, that's a great way that other people can reuse. How could you use less energy to help reduce global warming? So thinking about how you're going to use less energy. Oh, you could walk or ride your bike because you're not using a car. You could turn lights off if you're not using them. You could not leave the television on standby, so turn it off properly. You could not spend ages with the fridge door open thinking about what you want. Having a good look in there, keep that closed. I saw something interesting this week as well about thinking about fans. It was really, really, really hot this past week, wasn't it? Let me get that back up for us. And it's been really, really, really hot this past week. And people have been leaving fans on overnight, plugged in. Well, you might need a fan because it's really, really hot and you can't sleep, but it is using energy. So it's just something to think about. It's just something to consider, okay? And just start plopping it in your head so that when you're using something and you're done with it, think, can I reuse it? Can I do something else with it? If not, can I put it in a recycling bin? and can it be reused by somebody else? And if I'm using something, do I need to use it? Could I turn it off? Could I walk to that place? Okay, do I need to leave my PlayStation on for hours and hours using energy? So they're just things to think about. And as I said, we did miss the day of World Oceans Day, but I don't think it's something that we just need to think about on the 8th of June. I think it's something we need to think about all of the time. And we are getting really, really, really good at putting our waste in the correct bins. And I know at home, I've got lots of bins. I've got a glass bin for my glass jars. I've got a general waste bin. I've got my recycling bin where I can put my cardboard and things in, my tins in once you've washed them out. And I've got my garden waste bin, so I can put my garden stuff in there and some of my compostable things in there as well. So fruits and vegetables, when I've done with them, they can go in there to help make lovely compost, to make our soils nice and rich. So that's just my little message for the week, all about World Oceans Day. As I said, your learning for this week explores the oceans with some oceany art. And I will pop back to try and answer those questions. Why does a crab run sideways? Is a jellyfish made of jelly? And why don't penguins freeze? Have a great week, everybody. Try and recycle something. It'd be great to hear what you've tried to recycle. Bye-bye.